Well, hello, DCO Nation. Welcome back to another DCO Live. And it looks like a couple guys are just starting to jump on now. Howard, Russell, Heath, great to see you guys. Remember, this is your show. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and throw them up into the chat box. But Captain Bob, hey, buddy, how you been, buddy?
I am doing good, Mr. Chris Little. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, doing great. Yeah, so we are kind of tugging Captain Bob, and because he just got done working like 3 minutes ago. So I really appreciate you jumping on, and
I am so excited. Listen, anytime that you ask, I'm going to be here, right?
okay.
I'm going to be on DCO Live. I mean, geez, you're the one that got me involved with the video thing and all that. So, and now look, this is all you as well.
That looks awesome.
It's your fault.
Awesome. And now I've got to keep up with the Joneses. So now I'm going to have to do something with.
Well, you still have one fish behind you more than I have. Plus, your two fish are much bigger than mine. But mine did when I was 9 years old, though.
Yeah, here's the thing. Those aren't my fish.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that.
So I've been asked about the fish before. They're actually my father-in-law's, and he used to live on Kentucky Lake, and he caught those. And when he moved down to Florida, he didn't want to take them. And I was like, well, you can't throw those away, man. I said, I'll hang them up. So yeah.
Okay, good. So then I have one fish behind me that's bigger than the one.
Yes, the ones that I've got. Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's okay. But no, you definitely don't have to keep up with the Joneses. You got a full-size banner and everything.
Yeah.
Gosh, but no, seriously, thank you for inviting me back on again. Anytime that I have the opportunity, I love doing it. Love some of the guys that you've got in your chat. Heath, one of them I know is one of the regulars here. Welcome to the show. I can't see him, but hello. Hi, guys.
Yeah. So if you guys aren't familiar with Captain Bob, he is a charter captain, Grove Life Outfitters. He's a SCDNR fishing instructor. He's the host of On the Hook with Captain Bob on the Outdoor Radio Network on iHeartRadio. So so he is all over the place. He is knee deep in it. He is just a wealth of knowledge. So, but guys, here's kind of what I wanted to jump into tonight. The calendar is getting ready to change over. We're going into March. Spring is literally right around the corner. So, I want to pick your brain about basically your spring playbook. How is that going to transition from winter to spring? So what is your playbook that you're going to open up for March?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So right now, and I'll be honest with you right now, the past week has been, we'll call it maintenance week. So we're in maintenance time right now, meaning that, doing things like swapping out impellers, doing our regular maintenance on the boat and getting all that. The funny thing about it is we don't winterize because we still use it, right? You use your vessel as much as you possibly can. So there's no winterization, just typical maintenance. So that's happening now this week. As we prepare for the season that is coming up, Chris, that we've got a big flounder tournament that's going to be happening here. I believe it's going to be in April, and gearing up for spring. We kind of shift a bit from the offshore black sea bass that we're doing now, right? That we enjoy going out after, and kind of prepare for a little bit more inshore with the flounder, as that's coming up. We're going to start as the water starts warming up. As well as anybody, that those flounder will start becoming more active. So we're going to swap things out. We'll start changing things out on the boat, putting some more of the inshore rods on the vessel, getting some of the big trolling stuff off of the vessel, that we would use in the fall, like your kingfish gear. We're going to get rid of that, and just minor swap out like that. So for the spring, we're really going to focus on, black sea bass. The nice thing about it, Chris, is that's going to be, that's a year-round fish for us. But we will utilize that fishery to kind of gear us up for the grouper season that will start here. So grouper is going to start in the spring, and we're going to have it. It's going to be 1st of May. We do not know how long it's going to last. I think last year it was 6 weeks. I think they shut it down in the middle of June. So we'll have a few weeks. But anytime that we get to go offshore, we're kind of, sniffing out the grouper grounds, just getting ready, right? We want to make sure that when we head out there, we're not going to be spinning our wheels. We know where the fish are. We don't want to go out to fish. We want to go out to catch. So
Right.
yeah, we just have some planning that we do now at this time of the year and swapping out our gear.
Okay. So you already have areas that you know where you're going to go to.
100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
And
100%.
that's offshore and inshore if you have an inshore charter also?
Yeah. Yeah. So for inshore fishing, we'll know where we're going to take them and what we're going to be catching. So again, inshore fishing, if it happens to be that we are going to be inshore, I will definitely target flounder starting in the spring, right? That's a great fish to catch. Chris, you know that David Fladd and the people over at Release Over 20. Release Over 20 is now our official conservation partner with a radio show On the Hook with Captain Bob. And we're thrilled
Fantastic.
about that. So anytime
Awesome.
that we can put anglers in our fishery and let them experience what we have to offer, well, we're going to do that. Redfish all year round. Don't get me wrong with that. Worst case scenario, if we had to, we could probably hit the jetties for some sheep's head. Fishing the jetties is my least favorite thing to do. I'd have to admit.
How
My
come?
number,
How come? Hold. Why? Why?
I think that fishing the jetties is, for me, anytime that I head out there, gosh, I don't want to say it's almost like I couldn't find fish elsewhere, right? But and it's so fished. I mean, just everybody's over there. I just don't enjoy it. If you see me at the jetties fishing, Chris, then you know it's a bad day. But I'll probably
Okay.
catch fish. But I'll probably catch fish.
Okay. Okay. So jetties is not plan A, plan B, plan C. We're talking plan X, Y, Z is the
That's
jetties.
it, XYZ. Yes, sir. It
Okay.
is. So the jetties is it's blowing too hard to get offshore. And current, maybe we just had some rain and it's just absolutely ripping inshore. And I still want to fish.
Mhm.
All right, then maybe we'll head out to the jetties. I'll drop anchor and we'll try to pick up some black sea bass, or I'm sorry, some sheep's head over there. Definitely some redfish as well. But yeah, so I would say the jetties, my plan XYZ.
Okay. Okay. And with spring coming on, the fish become a little bit more aggressive as the water starts to warm up. So, do your presentations or tactics change with that, or are you still kind of slowly, pulling out of that winter presentation, or are you just going right into it and throwing a paddle tail
Yeah,
and burning it? And what are you doing there with?
yeah. I think I'm a big bait guy, right? I think we talked about that. You, Chris, are absolutely a finesse fisherman. Um, you spend almost 100% of your time inshore and you do a lot of finesse fishing, especially in the winter.
Mhm.
In the winter, I'm going to try to get offshore. So I'm not going to be inshore finesse fishing. But when I have the time or the opportunity, I'll say, like you had mentioned, water starting to warm up, fish are going to start to becoming more aggressive. Well, I'm going to go to my standard 3/8 ounce, and I know that's heavy. That's heavy for you, right? 3/8 ounce with a
Yeah.
4-inch shrimp on the back end, and I'm going to drag that thing around.
Okay.
Um, and that's how we're going to catch flounder. Now, one of the things, and I think that even you and I spoke about this on maybe my show or possibly on one of the other DCO lives, is I will try to target flounder off of the shells, right? So if we got our oyster shells here, I like to fish that ground right next to it, right? Now, it was very interesting because I just had a conversation with Captain Chris Osman, and Captain Chris he has been leading the Release Over 20 program. He has done that month after month, and I don't know how long. I think he's a little bit behind now, but he'll be in the top of the leaderboard here again. But he was telling me that he likes to float a cork for flounder over those oyster beds. And that's something that I typically don't do because of and I said because of the impending doom of the snag, right? The old snaggletooth. Uh,
Right.
is that something that you do? Are you
I've never done
floating?
it.
Yeah. So I
I've
thought
never
that
done it.
was quite interesting. Now I'll float a cork for things like redfish all day long,
Yeah,
but I've never really considered floating a cork for flounder, and he does it on a regular basis
for flounder.
for flounder.
Is that what you're saying? Float a cork for flounder?
Yep, floating a
Yeah.
cork for the
Yeah.
flounder. So
No, I've never done it.
he will have his cork right above the oysters. You know, if the oysters are sticking off, 6 inches or whatever, he may float that just a couple inches above it. Um, of course, the flounder
Right.
will swim about a foot to come up to get the bait, but
Mhm.
that was probably one of the most interesting. I never thought. I don't know if he ended up finding that out by accident, but he's catching a lot of flounder doing that. So, I might try that, but
Yeah.
typically I'm the big bait guy, that 3/8 inch jig head. I'm using a 4-inch shrimp tail, typically it could be a gulp. I'll even go down to a 3.5-inch prawn star. And I think
Okay.
that might be 3/16. That might be the lightest I
Right.
would go to. But no, I'm a big bait guy.
Okay. All right. Awesome. I did have a quick question that just came in from Howard. Howard said, "What jetties? So, what jetties are you fishing? If you can just kind of let everybody know what that is." So,
It's
you got
the
the jetties at Merle's Inlet. There's a rock wall, kind of. I won't really call it a jetty at the north end of Pawleys, but that north end has like a rock wall right there, which is really good. But what jetties are you talking about? Just to kind
So
of.
this is the Little River Inlet, the jetties at the Little River Inlet. Those are the ones I'm speaking of. Now, when I do go, I might as well give the spots I enjoy fishing there. I believe it's going to be considered the western side of the jetty because if you look at it, it kind of aims south, right? You would think that the inlet points out east, but it doesn't. Or the way that our beach is curved, we're actually pointing more south and east. So I would call it the west jetty wall or maybe the south jetty wall. But that side there is where I will fish. The most protected portion is going to be along the backside of that wall closer to Cherry Grove Beach.
Oh, okay.
Very protected over there.
Yeah. So that's going to break those currents down a little bit. And
Mhm.
okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. And on the North Carolina side is very aggressive. In fact, last season, I believe it was last year, we had a horrible accident of a duck hunter that was hunting over there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his John boat was swamped on the North Carolina side of those jetties. And just it was an unfortunate accident.
Yeah. Yeah. I do remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It definitely gets sportier on that side.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The jetties, the one thing that you guys have to remember is those jetties act like a big funnel. And especially like in Merle's Inlet, you got all of that water in Merle's Inlet trying to escape through there. And it just gets ripping down through there. So yeah, if you're in a boat, especially a kayak, if you want to venture out that way, you have to be careful. You really
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
So
Now, the Little River Inlet is kind of unique, and for anybody watching, um, I definitely encourage them to pull up the topo map of what that looks like underneath the water. It is like an upside down mountain, and there are parts when you come into the inlet where that mountain range will come up to just about 6 feet. You're going to be 6 feet deep in some of those spots out there. And at low tide, it could be really hairy, but we call it the bathtub because of the underwater topography that is there. The way that water moves through, and for anybody that's watching that has been through that inlet, they'll know the water goes from side to side like you are in a bathtub. If you are in a bathtub and you
mm,
swish the water to one side, it's just going to keep going back and forth, side to side.
yeah.
It definitely is quite interesting, but nothing like some of the other inlets, like Hallover Inlet down in Florida. That one's just crazy. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess we're kind of fortunate. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very
Is that the one where all the videos with those boats
yep,
that are getting
Yeah,
swamped and the huge waves and they're trying to
yeah,
get out of that. Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah.
I've
That's
seen
all
those.
over
Oh,
that. In
that's
fact, I'll give you another maybe another useless piece of information because I'm full of it, Chris, full of this useless information. But the gentleman that owns Wavy Boats, his name's Robbie. He's actually in Little River.
okay.
Yeah, so he's a local guy that
Yeah.
that has those websites and those YouTube channels where
Yeah.
you
That's
see
awesome.
all over inlet. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Keith jumped on and he just said, he hasn't gotten brave enough to try to fish the jetties in his
oh,
kayak.
don't do it, don't
You
do it,
know,
Keith. Call
yeah,
me, Keith. We'll take you out on a boat. It's much safer.
yeah. I've been out, at Murrells Inlet up around the jetties a few times, but it was during those slack time areas, and especially at low tide slack. It's not as dangerous. A lot of those boats really won't kind of venture and get into the big wider areas of the jetties before it starts to narrow down. But yeah, I don't get in there at all. Like I said, it's just a big funnel, and it'll suck me out. The next thing I know, I'll be in Jamaica. So yeah, no, I don't want to. I don't want to deal
No,
with any of that.
no, definitely not.
Yeah,
I am surprised sometimes when we go out and we call them the mosquitoes. I don't know what you refer to them as, but some people call them jet skiers. But they're just out. They go through the jetty. God bless them. I mean, you have a set. That's all I've got to say. You're
yeah,
taking that jet ski out there on some of these days, and yeah.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
Eh,
Okay, so I want to shift gears on you here a little bit because I got a question the other day, and the guy wanted to know about the moon phases, the majors and minors, and how to fish that stuff. Now I know that you're a big proponent of it. I have really started to get into it really about the last year or two, and trying to really try to study that and how the fish feed. But can you kind of go over the majors and minors and what they are?
mhm. Yeah. And this is one of the things that we talk about at our seminars at Bass Pro Shops as well, because anytime that you can put something in your favor when you're out fishing, geez, you might as well do it, right? So
Hmm.
as far as the majors and minors go, I will say this. I do look at them every time that we go out, and hopefully during the day when I'm planning, I will find myself being able to fish one of those times, whether it is a major or a minor. Now, the major and minor, a major fish activity time and a minor fish activity time. The minor fish activity time, excuse me, does not mean that is when the fish are least active, right? The minor fish activity time is still an elevated activity time for the fish. So, two times during the day, we're going to have almost every day. There are some days when the moon phase just doesn't happen and there's no major or minor. But you will typically have a major and a minor time. The both of those times are elevated fish activity times. However, the major fish activity time will last twice as long as the minor fish activity time. So, for example, a major time could last for 2 hours. Your minor fish activity time will last for 1 hour. Again, just because you see a minor, that doesn't mean it's minor fish activity. No, it's still elevated fish activity. The time is just shrunk. It's a reduced time frame. So, what those time frames are, those are the times of the day that the sun and the moon are in alignment. If you see, when they're in alignment with themselves, and what that does is it that's the times that the fish are most active with the poles, the magnetic poles that we have. I don't know if I'm even explaining that right. We may need to get a scientist in here to do that, but maybe I'm speaking like a fisherman now.
Hey, you're doing good. Keep on going.
So that's so the sun and the moon are completely opposite of each other. That's going to have an elevated fish activity time, and again, you're going to have a major and a minor. The major will last twice as long as the minor. I always, if I am out there fishing and I see, well, we're going to have a minor at 2 o'clock, and it's 1 o'clock. I'm hanging out, right? I'm waiting. I'm going to fish through that minor all the way through. I won't plan a day and say, you know, we're going to have a major at 11 o'clock, so we'll leave the dock at 10. No, I'm not going to do that, right? We're going to leave the dock at 7, whatever it is, and we will be fishing during that major activity time. So I always try to plan to fish through that, but I don't plan around it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like we plan around our tides, though. We will plan around our tides.
Right, right. So where do you find that information? Where do you go to find the times for your major and minor? Is there a website, or where do you go to find that?
So Go SC Outdoors. It is the South Carolina Department of Natural Resource. They have an app. And of course, if you've got a fishing license, maybe you purchased your fishing license in South Carolina on that app, but they have everything there. They've got, hey, come on.
Yeah.
There it is.
There
Boom.
it is.
Now you know. And they got the tides in there as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you guys go there, I don't know, I'm probably getting a pretty good glare, but it'll show you the times every day when the majors and minors are. So that is a great place to go. If you have a South Carolina fishing license and you're not on the app, go get on the app. There's a bunch of stuff in there. There's one of the little icons is the digital backpack, and that's where you get sunrise, sunset, the feeding times, the tides. That's where you need to go to get that. So awesome.
Yep, that's exactly where I get it at, Chris. I'm glad you pulled it up. Again, you got the tides in there as well. I will make a plug, if you don't mind, for a moment, the Outdoor Radio Network app that they have out, and you can get that at outdoorradionetwork.com/mobile. Now, their app has a hourly 7-day weather forecast. Now, I don't know. I look at the hourly forecast quite a bit, but typically you're only going to be able to see a 48-hour forecast, 24 to 48-hour hourly forecast. ORN put one out for 7 days. So you can have an hourly forecast a week in advance, and it's for free. So
that's awesome.
There you go. It's not behind a paywall. So I'm using that for that and the radar features on that particular app. But yeah, for the majors, minors, and tide, Go SC Outdoors.
Yeah, yeah, and I tell you, the last time I went out, I actually went out on Sunday, and I caught a few redfish, and I looked at the major and minor times, and there was a major from, it was right around 7:30 to like 9:30, and I caught my biggest fish at about 10:15. So it's not like these fish know that at 9:30, hey, the major's over, we're stop feeding. You know, it's not how it works. But like you said, we're going to be fishing in and around that major time. And yeah, that's when I started catching fish. I started catching fish around 9 o'clock. So I was still inside that major time frame. And then, of course, right outside, you know, is when I caught, you know, a pretty nice red. It was 31 and a half. It was my PB. It was a great fish. Yeah. But up and down this creek, there was all kinds of activity. I was seeing fish everywhere. So they were active, they were moving. And so, yeah, don't overlook those. What's that?
I was going to ask, did you notice an elevated bait activity as well during that time? I don't know if you happen to pay to notice that, if you were paying attention.
Because I never really saw a lot of bait moving. That was the thing. Now I saw shorebirds and they were feeding on some bait, but for me when I was kayaking around, I never really saw anything running the shorelines or shrimp popping or anything like that. It was a little, I don't know, it was desolate, but the bait was there, but I wasn't seeing it. So they must have been, the water temperature was about 45, 46 degrees. So we're still a little on the colder side. So I'm assuming that bait was lower in the water column, because that's where I was picking up my reds, was low and slow bumping the bottom. And I was in the deepest part of the creek, which was about 3.5 feet. And that's where I was picking them up at. So that's what I'm assuming the bait was at.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that would make sense. Now, I'm going to turn the interview onto you for a second here because you said something and I want to ask you a question about it.
Okay.
Because we talked a little bit earlier about you changing baits, getting into the spring season, and of course, you know that I'm a big bait guy, and I know that you fish inshore in the winter. Now you were having success with your redfish. How big of a bait were you using for that big 31?
It was on an 1/8 of an ounce trout eye jig head with a Z-Man slim swim. So what is that thing? 2.5 inches long.
Right? That
So if you don't think elephants eat
holy
peanuts, you
cow!
are absolutely wrong
I had
because I hooked him and it wasn't on the corner of the mouth. He inhaled that little bitty slim swim.
wow.
And yeah, so
Okay.
that was it.
So for everybody that's watching, including me, because I'm going to have to rewatch this, right? You don't have to throw big baits for big fish. There
No,
it is,
no,
right? You actually match the hatch, right? What's
yeah.
in the what are they feeding on? And it was quite successful. An 1/8 ounce, 2.5 inch lure. I mean, you might as well throw one of the old Mr. Twister crappie
Yeah,
jigs.
exactly. Yeah, a little crappie jig or something. That's what it was. Yeah, exactly. But I was fishing around most of the morning and and I was trying all kinds of presentations, hopping, making it a little more active, pulling it off of this, pulling off of that, and burning it, slowing it down, burning it. But when I caught my first one, it was slow roll, bumping the bottom, and they picked it up. And I picked up two back to back. I think they were back to back cast. If not, they were real close. And then I kind of let that area calm down. I left it for about 10 or 15 minutes and I came back in a different direction, gave it a little bit different presentation, little different direction. And then that's when I picked up my bigger one. So
Okay.
that,
Okay.
that was the way that I did it.
Wow.
But
47 degrees water
yeah,
temperature.
yeah. I
45.
think by the time I left at like 1 o'clock, it had just started to touch 47. When I got there, it was 44, 45 degrees. So
Wow.
yeah, yep, still cold.
I haven't seen 40 degrees yet
Yeah,
here, but the boat's been on the shelf for a week, so that's
yeah,
okay. Last time we were in the 50s, 51, up in the intercoastal a bit. We were up in the low 50s, 54, I think maybe was what I saw topped off at. But yeah,
yeah,
it's chilly, right?
yeah. Yep, yep. So, okay, so we are already at that 30-minute time frame. I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time tonight. I appreciate you coming on. But what are your fishing plans here the next couple of weeks? Are you heading out at all, or are you still going to be doing
Yeah.
some maintenance stuff? What are you going to be
No.
doing?
So next thing that we've got coming up is I've got one more maintenance thing to do on the vessel. But we are actually designing, believe it or not, some kite rods. So we've got a
Oh,
couple
really?
of kite rods that we're going to be putting to the test. And for those that don't know what kite rods are, it gives us the ability to send our lines off the front of the boat or back of the boat, whichever way the wind's blowing, hundreds of yards away from the vessel. Typically, if this is the boat, right, we're doing a transom drift. So the back of the boat is hitting the waves and we're drifting this way. Now, when we do that, I can send kites off the front of the boat in the wind. So if the wind is blowing this way, I can send kites off the front of the boat 200-300 yards in front of us. So now we can fish the water in front of us as we're fishing the water behind us with the drift. And so it's a kite that you fly up. It's a clip just like our outriggers, and the bait hangs down. When the bait gets hit, it pops off the clip. You wind your fish in and run another line up the kite. But so we're building a couple with Ron Colorisi from Toothy Critter Rods. I don't know if you met Ron. I think you did. He was at the last year's Christmas show.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
He's putting them together. And I'm looking forward. He sent me a picture of them today. He's got them assembled and, just wanted to confirm a couple things before he puts the epoxy together. But so we're going to go out and test those things out. So we're back offshore. The moment that we can get out, we're back out again.
So what are you targeting? Is there a specific species you're targeting with those kites, or just kind of whatever?
Yep. So we're going to test them right now, but they're great for trolling. They're going to be a killer in the fall for king mackerel, right? When it's trolling season for king. I am going to try them for Spanish as well. Anytime that I'm out there putting a drift on, I'm going to put a kite up, right? Could be cobia. It could be, there's a chance we'll catch some barracuda. Not the best thing, but hey, if we catch it, I'm going to wind it in, right? No problem. But I will be out there testing them, and throughout the summer, I'm really going to be hoping to pull in some cobia. I think will be the main thing that I'm hoping we'll be able to bring in on that kite.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people in Florida use them for sailfish. Here, we're going to use them for cobia, and we're going to use them for kingfish.
And kingfish. Okay. All right. Just a random question. Do you enter into these kingfish tournaments at all?
I don't do any tournaments.
Okay.
I thought about doing, it was about 3 years ago, the Rumble in the Jungle that we've got here. The weather ended up being bad. We didn't get in it. And, I'm not a big tournament angler. I just enjoy fishing so much that I don't know if I like the, having to run out with another 140 boats.
Yeah.
I'm a stress-free guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I love the
tournaments. I know.
I love the tournament fish. I do. I'm really starting to get into it, but that's for another day. But hey, let everybody know the next classes for the SCDNR stuff.
Sure.
So, if these guys want to jump out there and do that, let them know about that.
So our next class at South Carolina, actually, we'll just go over the whole thing. We run these once a month at the Bass Pro Shops in Myrtle Beach. They are free events. They're sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Natural Resource. I am the lead instructor there. We're joined by a couple of other certified saltwater fishing instructors from the DNR. All the instructors are certified saltwater instructors. They're also certified taggers for the state as well. So there's a lot of knowledge that goes into these seminars. The next seminar happens to be a flounder seminar. And that is going to be Wednesday. Oh gosh, I'm so terrible with the dates. March. I'll have to find it right here. But it is a Flounder 101. And what we will do is we break down everything. If you've never, it's going to be Wednesday, the 19th of March. Wednesday, March 19th. There'll be a Flounder 101. If you have never done flounder fishing before, we're going to tell you, we'll go over the lures that you would need, the type of rods and reels that you would need, the most successful types of knots that'll help you get through your new angling experience. So we break it down. There's some hands-on stuff there. And I always say that whoever does the best in the seminar, they get to spend 5 minutes fishing in the tank over there at Bass Pro Shops with you. No, not true. No.
Yeah, no.
I asked every time.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I asked. Yeah. I asked Chris over there. Chris Baker's the general manager, and he says, "Yeah, you no problem, but trying to get out of that tank is a little tough." Okay, so we won't do that. But I would definitely encourage everybody to check out. Go over to Eventbrite. That's where the South Carolina Department of Natural Resource puts all of the registrations for all their events. That's eventbrite.com. And you could just simply type in SCDNR Fishing Outreach. And again, that's South Carolina Department of Natural Resource, SCDNR Fishing Outreach. And all of their events will come up. All the ones that we do at Bass Pro. There's some that happen at the West Marine in Murrells Inlet. And I believe we may be doing some up here at this West Marine in North Myrtle Beach, but there's pier clinics that happen, surf fishing clinics that happen, and some of those seminars are actually fishing seminars. So the ones we do at Bass Pro, it's going to be a seminar where we're going to break some stuff down, do some hands-on stuff. There's no fishing, but other seminars, there will be fishing. There's a great one a great surf fishing seminar that they do. And of course, there's fishing that's involved after that.
Yeah, guys, I would definitely encourage you to go over there and check those out and go to the seminars. Captain Bob's there. These guys who are the certified instructors, they know what they're talking about and they're free. So why wouldn't you go? So
And
if you guys have, they're right there for you.
we've got one new one that we'll be starting. And I think that you and I spoke about this because, we may want to see about having Chris Little as one of the instructors as well, or at least come in for the seminar. But we are looking at adding this year a kayak seminar as well at Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, my calendar is actually starting to fill up pretty quickly now. I am I wasn't gonna well, yeah, I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. So I was approached by Trilogy Outdoor magazines to write for them. So I'm gonna start putting out an article once a month for Trilogy Outdoors. So my first one will be out in April. So now I wrote for them before, and I wrote for Waccamaw Outdoors, and so I'm kind of jumping back into that. So that's just another thing that I need to, cram into my day. So I know, you know what that's like, man. It's a full calendar.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. That's okay.
Yeah.
And listen, it's better to be active, right? Because once you get dust on it, Chris, it's not good.
Oh yeah, no, it's not good. So tell everybody how they can find you, where to go to listen to On the Hook and do all that, and then we'll wrap this up. But let everybody know where they can find you.
So all the socials, On the Hook with Captain Bob. Again, that's going to be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, On the Hook with Captain Bob. And you'll be able to listen to us live on iHeartRadio at the Outdoor Radio Network. So it's the only live radio station in America that is dedicated 24/7 to the outdoors. And we said it before, it's like the ESPN for outdoor sports, 24/7 outdoors. So once again, that is the Outdoor Radio Network. You can get it on the iHeartRadio app over at iHeart.com, or you can go to outdoorradionetwork.com. You can listen to it there. But again, I do encourage everybody, if you're interested in downloading the app, it's actually, you don't even download it. It's outdoorradionetwork.com/mobile. And you'll be able to stream it live right there and get all that weather goodness as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Captain Bob, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Great friend. I just, what do you say? I mean, full of knowledge. Appreciate it. Yeah. So thanks, buddy. Thanks, everybody. We will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. So guys, y'all have a great night. And I don't think I'll see you out on the water this weekend. I think the wind is supposed to be like 20 miles an hour. So, again, I don't want to end up down in Cuba or something on my kayak. So I'm just going to stay in and, listen to ORN. So guys, I appreciate you, and I will see y'all next week.